I'm gonna keep it above 50. Sparking Zero was fucking trash. And I've been saying perfection, the natural selection. Oh my god, that's a cringy name. He can change his YouTube name. That sounds super gay for me to say it that way. But I completely agreed with him. I mean, I've been in his comments arguing with the Sparking Zero Glazers multiple times. And the real reason people like this game is because of nostalgia. Some of y'all probably watching this video probably think I have an annoying voice because, I mean, my voice kind of could be annoying to some people and they may think I'm young or older than I really am or slower than I really am. But if I'm keeping it a buck, I do have nostalgia. Don't get me wrong. I grew up in the late 2000s, right? I'll be a young adult soon, but I don't defend things because of nostalgia. I never grew up with the Tenkaichi series, but I did grow up with, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 on Xbox 360 and Dragon Ball Fighters, which was intended to be the fourth Dragon Ball Budokai game. Of course, Fighters has a worse story mode than Sparking Zero, but Fighters was always intended to be a competitive game because it's a 2D fighting game. Literally, it states in magazines by the creators of the game Arc System Works and the people at Toei and Bird Studios and Shueisha that the game was intended to be a competitive game. Except, the people who make Sparking Zero, Shueisha, Toei, sadly not Bird Studios because the creator passed. And who are the guys? Are they CyberConnect? The people who make the Naruto Storm, Arena Fighter games? I don't know. But basically they stated Sparking Zero was supposed to be, a fun game, like a party game. It was never intended to be competitive. So why do we have clip shows for the story mode? And anime is basically free. It's been free for years, if you know what I mean. So you can watch Dragon Ball whenever you want if you have a Wi-Fi connection. But Xenoverse 2 had the best story because, it was actually dealing with time travel and time risks and alternate timelines being created. On top of it, you had a fully customizable character, unlike Ultimate Tenkaichi, which wasn't fully customizable because the gameplay was trash on the Xbox 360. But like I will admit, Xenoverse does have problems despite it being my first Xbox One game, specifically Xenoverse 2, and Fighters being my favorite fighting game. Fighters has problems. There's cheese and broken characters, except the difference is that Fighters is made to be a competitive game, so it's more balanced, of course. Sparking Zero had only two good what ifs, and Xenoverse's whole story had, dozens of what ifs. So, this isn't really a big deal. But Sparking Zero had the Gohan Black Arc what if and the what if Future Trunks was in the Tournament of Power what if, which, those were two plot holes. I mean, obviously Zamasu should have took Gohan Black's body instead of Goku Black's body because, first of all, Gohan has more potential. That's stated multiple times in the series. And Zamasu would know, considering that he's a Kai, which is a god in the Dragon Ball world, and gods watch what mortals like Gohan does. And two, Roshi should not have been in the Tournament of Power because one, the dude's elderly, and one, he doesn't train. This dude reads dirty magazines all day, so yeah, they can definitely replace him with Trunks. On top of it, this nigga Roshi should be a fossil. This nigga's 100 years old. Viagra doesn't even work on this nigga. It was stated that Sparking Zero was gonna have 183 characters, right? It only has 81 characters because we can't add transformations. We know how much you guys, the Dragon Ball fan base, has a hard on for transformations, right? We got grown men out here, raging on the internet because, they can't watch another man dye his hair purple or whatever, right? Considering I'm not going to even get into that, right? But basically, no transformations. So only base form characters, like base Goku, right?